So, over the last several weeks, I've been watching a number of videos and reading articles and so on related to the fallout from the Epstein files that have been released. And one thing that's become incredibly apparent and kind of inescapable is just how common it was and is for the wealthy and powerful in our societies, not only in the United States but around the world, to be involved in some pretty horrific stuff and really just seem to lose all empathy. And this reinforced realization has really just hammered home for me just how much human history is littered with the wealthy and the powerful getting away with a number of pretty heinous crimes and really treating people around them and quote unquote under them terribly. And it's something that the United States temporarily got away from. After the Great Depression, we instituted what is now generally referred to as the New Deal era, and I've talked about it several times before, and I think I've brought it up in like every video that I've posted so far, but it's because it's such an important era in American and world history, I think, because we went out of our way to tax the wealthy, to keep politics protected from economic power, to divest and spread out economic power as much as possible, to give as many Americans as we possibly could access to what became known as the American dream, right? The ability to raise a family and have solid careers and own a home and so on and so forth. And it wasn't an accident. It was a series of policies that changed and updated the way that humanity had been operating for thousands of years. And really, since the 1970s, and in particular the 1980s, with the Reagan Revolution, the United States and much of the rest of the world has turned in many respects in the opposite direction, and we've done it under the guise of liberalizing and opening up the market and letting the invisible hand do its work, which really was actually just turning back the clock. That's what we've been living in for the last half century or so, is just what humanity has typically done. That which has led us towards something of a techno-feudalism, which is where we're heading now. I think we Americans, and really just humans in general, need to realize a few key things. The wealthy are not on our side. Those that are in power very much want to keep it. And unless you specifically design a system that discourages and actively works to keep those that are sociopathic or generally corruptible out of power, they're almost always going to disproportionately reach those levels of power over the rest of us. So the end result in nearly any system is you wind up with a majority of assholes at the top. That's just the reality of it. It isn't an accident, and it isn't unusual. It isn't an aberration. It's just the reality of human society, unfortunately. The Epstein files, Epstein himself, everyone that's in them, one corrupt political regime in the White House after another, corrupt political regimes around the world, and the kind of retrenchment or retreat of democracy around the world. None of this is an accident. And our economic system at large is designed to keep Americans getting gradually poorer and families having fewer children and fewer people owning homes and so on. It is all baked into how the economics of the modern United States and much of the Western world operates. None of this is an accident. If you wanted to deplete the middle class and slowly hollow it out and siphon wealth to the top, you would design a system a lot like ours. So even if one wants to give the rich and powerful of decades ago the benefit of the doubt that they didn't know what they were doing, at the very least it should be obvious now. And if you've noticed, the wealthy and powerful have gotten more brazen, more powerful, more willing to use that power, and more willing to spend it on political power. So I'll make no bones about it. If we want to make America great again, if we want to return to a time where the middle class was growing and the American family was doing better decade over decade, we need to change our policies and how we run things from top to bottom. And we need to rediscover our collective empathy. That seems to be one of the most notable changes, is over the years, the wealthy and powerful have really tapped into our prejudices and our biases to cause us to attack each other racially or demographically or what have you, as opposed to actually punching above like we should be together. The fight really is upper versus lower, not right versus left or black versus white or any other version of it. As with much of human history, the psychopaths in our system will continue to rise to the top. The Epstein files really should just be referred to as the billionaire files, because that's effectively what it is. It's a who's who of wealthy in the United States and much of the English-speaking world. It really serves to show just how much of a good old boys club this is, and how brazen and untouchable many of these assholes think they are. And this sort of system, especially when the billionaires own media, legacy, and social, by and large, it's going to reinforce itself. It's not going to get better for us. It's not going to change unless we change it. And right now, a collective billionaire class and their owned legacy and social media is doing a pretty good job brainwashing the majority of us into believing that our enemies are next to us, beside us, those that we should be standing shoulder to shoulder with, rather than those that own the majority of the system, and are now using that wealth and that power to influence politics in our day-to-day lives in ways they've never been able to in modern American history. And the system these billionaires are pressing on us, whether we like it or not, is going to continue harming all of us across the world, top to bottom, until we change it. Until we force that change. And with the development of AI and robotics and whatnot, we may be reaching a point where they don't even need us and they see a majority of our population as a threat. So we may even be operating with a limited window here, but we need to take this back and change things, and we need to do so rather dramatically, frankly. I realize this may not look real good on the YouTube algorithm, but I think we need to start actively going after billionaires and corrupt corporations and prosecuting and jailing bankers and so on that are actively participating in this corruption. It should go without saying that anyone related to Epstein that's involved in human trafficking and the abuse of children, whether it's Epstein or not, needs to face severe consequences, and we need to change the rules and start enforcing them on the wealthy in a way that we have not done in decades, if not centuries, if ever, in human history. I'd hate to see the United States devolve into like a French Revolution style reign of terror type of environment, but I think that's economically and politically where we're going. I think that's the direction we're heading if we're not careful. The wealthy don't even seem to realize that they're enjoying their lives and they're having their Marie Antoinette let them eat cake moment now. But it's going to come crashing down at some point. This system is unsustainable, and they're creating poverty and suffering in the process of them being greedy. This kind of system never lasts. It can't. It's going to end, and it's almost definitely going to be ugly unless we can tap into the few remaining strands of American freedom and political power that we the people have, kind of wake up and retake it before it's too late. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off of my soapbox here. I know I've been talking doom and gloom here for a bit, but if you want to continue hearing and discussing how we can take America and really the world back at this point and create a better future for ourselves, our children, and grandchildren for generations to come, stick around because we're going to be talking about it.